what's going on, guys? Pagani Gaming here, and welcome to another round of W2W racing. This time round 7 at Monza with no chicane, meaning that two cars in particular were the ones to look out for. Them being the Ford Mustang GT and the McLaren F1, being very top speed heavy cars, and Monza being a very top speed heavy track. Those two cars were definitely the ones to be looking out for. But on the bright side, we did qualify first, beating second place by 0.2 of a second. Although that was short-lived, as we tried to go for a different start, starting in second, and then quickly shift down to first to get a really good start and then eliminate the wheel spin. Although we didn't do that start really well, because we weren't too sure how to do it correctly. We were pretty slow on the lights in terms of reaction time. We dropped down to third, but we moved back up into second and make a move on Troy, who came to Ascari pretty slow and left the door wide open. So we made that move there, move up into second behind Evil, who's also in the Lexus. Lexus was a pretty good car around this track if you took out the Mustang and the McLaren from the race. It was the next car in line. Mercedes as well was a pretty good car in terms of fuel saving. It did have the acceleration and the cornering ability, but it did struggle on top speed. But it did do really well on fuel saving. So coming to the Ascari here, Troy's going to try and make a move. That's not going to happen. We're going to stop him from doing that. We're going to push him back down to CCH. We're going to come out behind Evil. Again, the Lexus was a pretty strong car. Troy coming up again to try and make another move. He's going to go on the inside, coming into Parabolica. Hard on the brakes at the 100 board. And this moment here, my Elgato lost a couple of frames. That wasn't Troy lagging or me lagging, that was just my Elgato. Again, cheating itself. 2 rounds in a row now where I've failed to have a successful round with the Elgato. But again with Monza, it's Slipstream heavy track, and you can either be one of those two people, be Troy and bump draft each other, or be CCH and just use the McLaren top speed and absolutely walk past everyone else. He goes on the inside of Grande. We're going to tuck in behind him. He does have to let off coming through this corner here. If you do take the wrong exit, the wrong entry. Troy's going to make his braking point completely, I believe. We might have gotten hit. And speaking of getting hit, unfortunately for Evil, he ran a little bit wide coming out of the chicane and came right into the path of us. And unfortunately, left us with nowhere to go except for the bar into the back of him. Because of that, he did get sent into the wall. I do believe he recovered pretty quickly, but lost all chances of getting a pole position. Because of that as well, Tombo made a pass on me. Then coming out of Ascari, Rex makes a move, tucks in behind Tombo. He's gonna move around Tombo. I'm gonna move around Tombo as well. Trying to stay behind Rexy. Dirty is gonna screw me over. I'm gonna run out a little bit wide. Tombo's gonna come on the inside, go for a nice little undercut. I'm gonna tuck in behind him. Use the Slipstream. Zuzu behind me. Tombo to my left, coming into the chicane. Hard on the brake, still going side by side through the chicane. Pretty good here between me and Tombo. Really good battle to go too wide through the chicane pretty cleanly. Is impressive, but unfortunately for him, coming to Lesmo 1, he's going to get a tap from Zuzu, and pretty much cut all his chances of getting a podium. And he goes into descent for a fun day at the beach. Coming to the start of lap 4 now, and a veteran to the channel, Con 008. He's been on the channel a couple times, starting way back when I first started the channel. Gonna make a move on me, come to the chicane. Jazz got some really good top speed and some really good acceleration and some pretty good grip. Unfortunately, the tyre wear and the fuel is a bit of a worry with that car. But one whole lap later, I'm gonna make a move on him. Go for a cheeky move on the inside, come with the chicane. Sort of left him in a position where he had to back out, or it was gonna be a not good outcome for him. And coming at the end of lap 7 now, coming to the Parabolica, he's gonna go for a move on the inside. Gets that done pretty well. Puts himself up into third, asks him to fourth. Coming through Ascari on the exit of lap 8, Con's going to get a 1.5 second penalty, and unfortunately for him, that means he has to burn that penalty, allowing us to come past. And thankfully, we move up into position 3 and hold on to that position and finish in position 3 for that first race. So to start off, a pretty good race. We were planning to not do as well as we did. I was expecting to see myself more mid-pack around 5th or 7th. But on to the second race now. We start third back from the grid. As always, the second race grids are always flipped from the results of the previous race. Tombo's going to have an absolute shocker of a start. Completely jumped it by a good lifetime. CCH going to come around me, and me and Rex to my right. We're going to chill at the back here. Probably better to not get a good start. Going to chill at the back here and just wait for everything to unfold. So you see here, I'm letting off almost completely around Grande, letting everyone sort themselves out. Coming into the chicane, braking really early, braking at the 200. We should be braking at the 150. That's how early I was braking. And for the most part, pretty clean. Troy did run a little bit wide, and then clipped the inside of the outside of Tombo as he came back on track. And even here, Lesmo 1 was pretty clean. The exit to Lesmo 1 was pretty awful, and then Lesmo 2 was just a complete shit show. On the bright side, we did move up into position 7, so in half a lap we moved up half the grid. So if we can keep that up, we'll be first place by the next lap. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Got position 6 from Hustle as we thread the needle through him as he clicks inside of the guardrail, and then coming up on a nice pack of 4. With Night Walker, Zuzu, Con, and Vintage. Gonna go up on the inside of the McLaren, coming to the chicane. Gonna get a pass on him, putting ourselves up into 5th. Behind Zuzu now, and Con and Vintage, who gets a half-second penalty for cutting the chicane a little bit. What they did do was allow the pack to thin out a little bit. So we're gonna tuck in behind Zuzu here. Going to get on the happy pedal a bit too early. We're going to get past on him. He's going to tuck in behind us again, using the benefit of the slipstream. He'll catch up pretty quickly. He puts us up into 4th now. Lap 8 now. Con hits the inside wall on Grande. I go for an evasive move. Unfortunately for Nightwalker, he was just there and I couldn't do much about it. Again, my apologies. I didn't know you were coming through there. Left him with nowhere to go and put him up on the sand. I don't 100% believe that was my fault. I feel like he probably walked himself into that one, putting himself in a position where there wasn't anywhere else to go. I think he was sort of asking for it. But again, if it is my fault, I do apologise. I think it's more of a 50-50, more of a racing incident. But Zuzu does come on the inside of Lesmo 2, putting us back down to 5th. And coming through Ascari, Zuzu's going to run a little bit wide, catching a bit of the sand. We're gonna catch up behind him, again benefiting from the slipstream. We're gonna tuck him right up behind him, and then coming to Parabolica, we're gonna get hard on the brakes at the 100 board. Down to 3rd, 2nd if you really want to burn some fuel. Getting on the power really early. And again, a whole lap later, this is the lap where we come into the pits. And again, I don't recommend doing this, but going to the pits side by side. Especially if you're not aware if the car on the inside of you is going to be coming to the pits with you, isn't the smartest idea, because he can pretty much force you back out on track into the wall and pretty much ruin your race. But we put in, nearly a full tank of fuel. We come out in 6th position behind CCH. And now it's just a race between me and CCH for the most part of the race. We did have Vintage as well, who was helping us around the track as well. He didn't have the best of race 1s, but he had a pretty good race 2. We go for a move on him coming out of Lesmo 2. Now we're stuck behind CCH for a good 5 laps. So the 5-lap battle, chasing him down slowly. We did know the McLaren was a very top speed heavy car, but the same cannot be said in terms of cornering abilities. The brakes and the steering is just absolutely god awful. Unlike the Lexus, where it's actually half decent. So it was more of a David vs Goliath battle. Coming halfway through lap 7, we knew we just had to stick behind him, stay in that slipstream range, and then eventually, when the opportunity's there, just go for it and make him move for it. Coming through the sky, we're going to be hard on the brakes, get right up behind him, try and get as close as we can, knowing that he's going to just absolutely walk us on the straights. He does run a little bit wide. We're going to tuck him behind him, go for him, try and go on the inside, and just the power of the McLaren is just not going to happen. But coming into Parabolica, again, hard on the brakes at the 100 board. We're going to tuck in on the inside, really hold that apex. He's gonna run wide, completely off track. And now that means we're now up into second place. Well, that means we also have to defend for a whole lap. We didn't have to defend for too long. Again, the McLaren's still speed is just gonna absolutely walk past us. We're gonna take a defensive line. He's gonna go around us. Exactly what we wanted him to do. We're gonna tuck in behind him, coming into the slipstream. Again, as I mentioned before, McLaren does have to let off sometimes coming into Grande. We don't. So I'm going to tuck him right up behind him, getting within 0.1. Coming to the braking zone, hard on the brakes at the 150 board, sticking our nose there and getting the move done really nice. And thankfully that was the last before CCH. We were a bit worried that he wasn't going to make a move on the straights, but thankfully we outpaced him on the last lap. And we finished in second place for the second race. So again, 2 rounds in a row where I've actually done pretty well. In the last round I came second and then fifth, and then now this round I've come third and then I've come second. So 2 rounds now where I've done really well. Hopefully I can continue this streak. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And with that being said, guys, I shall catch you in the next one.